Hey, Dan here with Sweet Maria's. I just wanted to make a short video showing you how I'm roasting small batches of coffee in our air roaster. Popper is a coffee roaster. You might be asking yourself why we would want to roast anything smaller than Popper's maximum capacity of 100 grams, which is already pretty small as it is. I think most people are maximizing batch size in order to minimize their time in front of the roaster. I know for me personally it's meant roasting 3, 4, even 5 batches at a time so that I have enough coffee for a few days. But invariably I wind up with these small tail ends of green in my coffee bags that I then have to decide whether to blend together for a full roast batch or try my hand at roasting them separately as a single origin. What I found in trying to roast 50 grams of coffee using the recommended roast settings that we've outlined in other library material, which is based on 100 grams of coffee, I found that 50 grams of coffee, no surprise, roasts super fast, and you wind up overshooting your desired roast level pretty easily. And so it was with that in mind that I set out to figure out where the heat dial setting should be in order to get a nice gentle roast curve and a nice light roast with 50 grams of coffee. Another reason you might want to roast small batches is if you're using Popper as a sample roaster. And we use Popper in our cupping lab more often than you might think. It's been really convenient to just fire up the Popper and start roasting immediately rather than warming up our ProBat for a half hour plus if we only have a few samples to roast. And often our suppliers, whether it be farms or importers that we work with, will only send us 100 grams of green. And while that's fine for a single batch, if you're roasting a maximum batch size, it's really nice to be able to split that sample in two so that you have a little insurance should you blow the first roast. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and just run through a roast here with you and show you where I've landed on heat dial settings in order to get a nice light roast with 50 grams of coffee. I'm going to weigh out my roast batch to precisely 50 grams so that I can calculate the weight loss and determine the roast level after I'm done roasting. I'm starting these small roast batches at 12.1 on my heat dial guide, and that's to extend the drying phase, so the time that it takes for the coffee to start turning yellow. We really don't want to see tan or brown at the end of 2 minutes or even 3 minutes. At the 2-minute mark, the coffee is starting to yellow. It's looking really nice. And I'm going to go ahead and bump up the heat to 12.4, so just below that 1 o'clock setting. As we enter the 4th minute, you can see that the coffee is turning a really nice brown color, which is where we want to be. However, the rate of rise has slowed significantly, and so we bump up the temperature one last time up to the 1.1 mark on the heat dial in order to keep things moving into first crack. Here's where things get a little wacky because it appears that the temperature is going up at a rate of 1 degree per second. And we have to remember that we are measuring the temperature of the air, not necessarily of the coffee itself. I hear the first snaps at 6 minutes and 7 seconds into the roast, which is a really good time to first crack for a batch this size. It means that I'm going to have to add 40 seconds to my timer in order to avoid going into the cooling cycle prematurely. I want to get 1 minute and 30 seconds of development before I start cooling my roast batch. I also find that once the temperature reaches its apex for the heat dial setting, it's easier to maintain a holding pattern with 50 grams than our 100 gram batches. What's likely occurring is that the smaller batch size allows air to pass through the bean bed more easily, and as a result keeps the temperature of the roasting chamber lower. We wound up with a really nice light roast here. It looks like about a city roast level, which we can confirm by weighing it, and the weight loss was 12.2%, so right around city roast level. And that's about all there is to it. I hope this helps get you on your way to roasting smaller batches of coffee should you need to. And don't forget to check out our other Popper related material in the description below. Thanks for watching.